My business partner's secret betrayal and shocking confession. It felt like a scene ripped straight from a nightmare. The jarring ring of the doorbell slicing through the quiet of a July night, a harbinger of the chaos about to erupt in my carefully constructed world. It was late, Sarah and I were winding down, and I certainly wasn't expecting him. The moment I pulled the door open, my blood ran cold. Standing there, bathed in the porch light, was Hugh. Jake, he croaked, his voice a mere shadow of the confident tone I once knew. What the hell are you doing here? I spat, every fibre of my being screaming for me to slam the door in his face. My stomach churned with a sickeningly familiar mixture of anger and disgust. Emotions I thought I'd buried long ago. It had been over a year since I had severed ties with the man who had betrayed me in the worst way imaginable, and I finally thought I was starting to heal. I need to see you, he stammered, the cocky swagger that had always defined him completely absent. Please, Jake, just give me 5 minutes. Sarah, ever the voice of reason, whispered from behind me, Jake, maybe just hear him out. She knew the depths of the pain he had caused, the countless nights I had spent replaying his deception. But she also knew that a part of me desperately craved closure, even if I refused to admit it. Sighing, I relented. I showed him inside. He shuffled in, his eyes darting nervously around the living room as if he was seeing it for the first time, and sank heavily onto the couch. His shoulders slumped. Sarah hovered nearby, her expression unreadable. He began, his voice trembling. Jake, I owe you more than an apology. I owe you everything. I know I can't ever take back what I did, but I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry. More sorry than you'll ever know. My jaw clenched, struggling to contain the torrent of accusations bubbling inside me. Hugh, you didn't just screw me over. I seethed. You nearly ruined my life, my family's life. And for what? A few extra dollars. He hung his head. It wasn't just about the money, he whispered, his voice barely audible. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was about me feeling like I needed more. Like I deserved more. I don't know why I felt that way, Jake. I've spent months trying to understand it. The bitterness festering within me threatened to consume me. You think I wanted more makes up for the lies. The months of pretending we were still friends while you were stealing from me. Hugh's head dropped further. I know it doesn't. Nothing can make up for what I did. Then came the bombshell. The revelation that shattered my already fractured reality. I'm dying. Jake, he whispered, the words hanging heavy in the air. I found out a few months ago. He looked up, his eyes pleading. Cancer, he explained, his voice a mere breath. Dying, I repeated dumbly, the word feeling alien and unreal. The man I had known my entire life, the man who had so callously betrayed me, was fading away. A confusing wave of emotions washed over me. Anger, disbelief, even a flicker of pity. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me, he insisted. I don't deserve that. I just didn't want things to end like this between us. My voice choked with emotion. What exactly do you want from me? Hugh, do you want me to forgive you? To say that everything's okay now that you've apologized? He looked at me with an intensity I hadn't seen in years. I don't expect that, Jay. I don't even know if I deserve it. I just wanted you to know the truth. I wanted you to know that I'm trying, really trying, to be a better person, even if it's too late. Sarah watched us silently, our eyes filled with a compassion I couldn't seem to muster. I looked away, unable to meet her gaze. Jake, he continued, his voice breaking, I'm not asking you to forget. I know what I did was unforgivable, but if there's any way you could let go of the anger, even just a little, I think it would help, not just for me, but for you too. I took a deep breath, running a hand over my face, trying to absorb the weight of his words, letting go of the anger. You have no idea what it's been like, picking up the pieces of everything you destroy. He swallowed hard, nodding slowly. I know, he said softly, I know, Jake, and I can't change that, but I don't want you to hold on to that anger for the rest of your life, either. An oppressive silence settled over us. I wanted to yell, to scream, to unleash the years of pent-up rage. But looking at him, so frail and vulnerable, the anger seemed to dissipate, replaced by a strange mix of confusion and weariness. Forgiveness wasn't an option, not yet. After what felt like an eternity, I finally spoke, my voice hoarse. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive you, but maybe. Relief flooded his face, softening his features. Thank you, he whispered. That's more than I deserve. As he left that night, a strange sense of unease washed over me. I didn't feel whole, not yet. But something had shifted. Something had changed. A few weeks later, I received a call from Hugh's lawyer. Hugh had passed away, quietly, and he had left me a letter. That evening, I opened it, my hands trembling slightly. Jake, the letter began, if you're reading this, I guess I'm gone. I wish I could have been a better friend, a better partner. I spent too long chasing things that didn't matter, and I lost sight of what did. I know I can't make up for what I did, but I wanted you to know that your friendship meant everything to me, even if I didn't show it. I hope you keep building the dream of ours. Make it something great, something we could both be proud of. Thank you for giving me a chance to say goodbye. I folded the letter, setting it carefully in the drawer of my desk. I didn't cry, didn't feel an overwhelming wave of emotion. just a quiet sense of finality. In the months that followed, I threw myself into the business, expanding our operations, hiring a few more skilled hands, and eventually opening a second location. I even started a scholarship in his name, a fund for young people wanting to learn the trade, hoping that maybe, in some small way, I could turn his betrayal into something positive. Every now and then, I catch myself thinking of him. The memories of our shared dream now tinged with a bittersweet nostalgia. As the months passed, I found myself thinking about that dream more often than I expected. Those early days before everything went wrong. Some nights I'd stay late at the shop, working on a particularly tricky repair, remembering the excitement we used to share to friends with big dreams and ambitious plans. Before it all came crashing down, one rainy evening, as I was locking up the shop, I noticed a young man standing by the door. He looked like he couldn't have been more than 18, his eyes filled with a mixture of uncertainty and hope. "Can I help you?" I called out, adjusting the collar of my jacket as the rain started coming down harder. The young man turned, his face flushed. "Sorry, I didn't mean to stare." He stammered, I've been trying to get into mechanics for a while now, and someone told me about this scholarship. I didn't know you were offering something like this here." I studied him, seeing a flicker of my younger self in his eyes. "Yeah, it's something I set up recently. You interested in applying?" He hesitated. "Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience, but I've been trying to teach myself. You know, watching videos, reading manuals. My dad used to work on cars, but he passed a few years back. I guess it's kind of a way to stay close to him." Something about the way he spoke struck a chord within me, reminding me of the countless hours I spent with my own father in Algosh, learning the basics, getting my hands greasy, falling in love with the trade. And despite everything that had happened, I thought of Hugh and a dream we had lost. "What's your name?" I asked, moving closer so I didn't have to shout over the rain. "Lucas," he replied, a little sheepish. "Lucas, sure." "Well, Lucas," I said, "I'll tell you what, why don't you come back tomorrow? We'll take a look at what you know. I can always use someone who's eager to learn." Lucas's face lit up with a mixture of surprise and excitement. "Really? I mean, that would be amazing. I didn't think I have a shot without formal training or anything." I gave him a reassuring nod. "Formal training is overrated," I said with a smile. "There's a lot you can learn on the job, as long as you're willing to work hard. I'm willing to teach." He left that night with a smile on his face. Over the next few months, Lucas became an unofficial apprentice, shadowing me, asking endless questions, and picking up skills faster than I ever expected. He was eager, a little rough around the edges, but undeniably talented. One night, after we closed up shop, Lucas and I were talking about his future. I told him he'd be a great addition to any gorge, that he had a natural talent for mechanics. "Thanks, Jake," he said. "I don't know if I'd even be doing this if it wasn't for you and that scholarship. My mom told me the other day she hadn't seen me this excited in years. I owe you a lot." He looked down, embarrassed by his own emotions. I waved him off. "You don't owe me anything, Lucas. Just do your best. That's all I ask." He glanced up at the scholarship sign again, the one that bore his name. "Who was Hugh Sullivan?" he asked hesitantly. "I mean, it's your business." For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. I looked at the sign, tracing the letters in my mind, the memories of friendship, betrayal, and redemption swirling within me. "He was my business partner," I said slowly, choosing my words carefully. "We started this place together. It didn't end well between us, but he taught me a lot, good and bad. This scholarship was my way of honoring what we built, even if it didn't last." Lucas nodded, absorbing my words. "I get it," he said quietly. "I mean, sometimes people make mistakes, right? Doesn't mean they didn't have good intentions at the start." His words caught me off guard. It was strange hearing a young guy like Lucas grasp something that had taken me years to accept. Maybe Hugh had started with good intentions. Maybe he genuinely believed we were building something amazing together, even if he lost his way. The thought gave me a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. With Lucas's help, I expanded our services, taking on more clients than ever before. We opened a small branch in the neighboring town, and before long, the shop was bustling with new faces and opportunities. One day, as I was cleaning out some old files, I found an old photo of Hugh and me standing outside the shop on the day we opened. We were both younger, our arms slung around each other's shoulders, our faces beaming with optimism. I stood there, staring at the photo for a long time. Hugh may have betrayed me, but he was also a part of my story, a part of the story that had shaped the man I had become. I carefully placed the photo back in the drawer, a quiet acceptance settling over me. That night, I took Lucas and the rest of the team out for dinner. We laughed, shared stories, and toasted to the future. And as I looked around the table, surrounded by the people who had become my family, I felt a sense of closure I hadn't thought possible. Hugh's betrayal would always be a part of me, a scar that would never fully fade. But I had chosen to move forward, to build something meaningful, and in doing so, I had found a way to forgive. Not just him, but myself, for holding on to the anger for so long. The business continued to thrive, and every year, the Hugh Sullivan Scholarship reminded me of the dream we had once shared. Even though he was gone, his legacy lived on, not in the betrayal or the mistakes, but in the people who came after, the lives that were changed, and the lessons learned. A few years went by, and the business kept growing beyond what I ever imagined. The shop wasn't just a place to get cars fixed anymore. It had become a cornerstone of the community. We held workshops for local teens interested in mechanics, and every year, I awarded the Hugh Sullivan Scholarship to a new apprentice. Lucas himself was now an integral part of the business. He had come in green, but now he was one of my most trusted mechanics and closest friends. He often worked late with me, and we swapped stories and talk about the future of the business. He even talked about wanting to open his own place someday. One quiet afternoon, as we were cleaning up after a busy day, Lucas looked over at me, an unusual seriousness in his eyes. "You know, Jake," he started, setting down a wrench, "I've been meaning to talk to you about something. I didn't want to bring it up before, but I feel like it's time." "All right," I replied, curious, but trying to keep my tone casual. "What's on your mind?" He hesitated. "I've been here for a few years now, and I've learned more than I ever thought possible. But lately, I've been feeling this urge to do something on my own. Maybe even start my own place, just like you and Hugh did." My heart skipped a beat, a wave of conflicting emotions washing over me. Pride, sadness, and just a touch of fear. I knew this moment would come eventually, but I hadn't expected it so soon. I studied him, seeing the determination shining in his face. "You're ready, Lucas," I said, my voice firm. "If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that sometimes you just have to go for it." His face lit up with relief and excitement. "You really think so?" "Absolutely," I replied. "You've put in the time, you've learned the trade, you've got the drive. Those are the things that matter most. I can't thank you enough, Jake," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "for everything. I wouldn't be here without you." I waved him off, smiling. "Hey man, don't worry about it. I am sure you would have found other ways if I wasn't here. It's in your nature. Don't worry about leaving me short. I am sure I can work something out, even get another apprentice." I saw Lucas's face change, "But I am worried about leave you short, so I can stay as long as you need me. I understand that you took me from an almost homeless situation, and I won't leave you behind with your back uncovered. We are partners and friends now, right?" But I shook my head, smiling. "Luke, go make something of your own. And when you open that place, let me know. I'll be your first customer." Over the next few months, Lucas prepared to leave, and I helped him every step of the way, sharing my knowledge and resources, patching him up with setting up a business and watching him grow into his own. As I saw him making all the important decisions and managing everything, I felt a deep sense of pride, like I was helping a son step into the world. In the back of my mind, though, I kept wondering what Hugh would think if he could see this. That thought lingered with me, bringing a mix of peace and nostalgia. It felt like a chapter of my life was closing, and that somehow I was finally able to move on completely. The day Lucas opened his shop was a big event. Friends, family, and people we'd worked with over the years came to show their support. Lucas looked proud and confident as he welcomed everyone to his new place, his smile radiating pure happiness. When he saw me walk in, he rushed over, a huge grin on his face. "Jake, I can't believe it's finally happening," he said, shaking my hand vigorously and then giving me a bear hug, looking around the bustling garage with pride. "It's all you, Lucas," I replied, giving him a pat on the back. "This is your place. You earned it." He looked down, a bit emotional. "I'll never forget where I started. Jake, working with you taught me everything I know. And I want to be honest, the idea for this place wasn't just something that I figured out, but it was something that you planted in me. For that I am going to be ever grateful. Thank you so much. And if you allow me," he gave a small pause and then continued, "I know it sounds a little weird, but I'd like to put up something in the shop to honor Hugh. Without him, none of this would have been possible." For a moment, I was speechless. Lucas's words hit me in a way I hadn't expected, giving me a new sense of closure. "I think that would be a good idea," I said quietly. "Hugh made mistakes, but he was part of our journey, and in some way, he helped bring us both here." Lucas nodded, looking thoughtful. "Then it's settled. I'll put something up, a small plaque, something simple. I had spent years carrying the pain of Hugh's betrayal, rebuilding from the wreckage of what we lost. And now, seeing his name honored in this new beginning, I realized I was truly free of it. Over the years, I kept in touch with Lucas, offering advice and support whenever he needed it, watching him flourish and build his own successful business. Grateful for the connection that bound us together. The business that Hugh and me had started became one of the most successful, well-known and community beloved in the area, with a solid prestige and an uncountable number of people who passed through and learned the trade of auto mechanics. In a way, both Lucas and me had the opportunity of doing something great and helpful that changed a lot of lives. Because of a shared dream and a betrayal. The betrayal of my old friend and partner. I always remember what happened because it marked me forever and helped me to value what is really important in this life: family, friends, and helping people to build a better future. I realized that experience had been an incredibly harsh lesson, but that lesson helped me to build the most important parts of myself and allowed me to get here, where I am right now. So, Reddit, after hearing my story, what do you think? Did I handle the situation with Hugh in the best way possible? Was starting a scholarship the right thing to do? And how do you feel about Lucas wanting to honor Hugh in his own shop? I'm really curious to hear your perspectives and advice on this whole situation. And if you have been in a similar one too, your insights would mean a lot to me as I try to make sense of everything that has happened and to understand what I really achieved and failed on this.